So this is a Kawasaki Ex-4. It's my daily rider, or used to be anyway. I don't ride as much now because it's gotten so bad. The bike itself is decent, the engine is fairly good. I did an oil change on it not too long ago, a few months ago. But everything else, the brakes, especially the chain, the carburetors were filthy inside, so it wouldn't start unless you put it on a hill and roll down in second gear and hill start it. But it wouldn't start on the starter anymore, or it would just keep cranking and cranking, and it didn't work. The solenoid doesn't work now. We have our chain here, you can hear. That just doesn't sound good at all. The chain is really bad, like really bad. The brakes probably need doing as well. Also, the fork seals are okay, but I have a feeling the fork oil inside is not good anymore. And overall, the bike just needs a good tidy because it does look really bad. Like the paint, and there's rust everywhere, and it just needs a bit of loving. I've already started on the bike, removed the side panels and the tank. It was very quickly done, 10 minutes off. Carburetors are already done. I've done them already. They're over there, ready to go back in. But I think we're going to start now on the rear wheel section and the chain and the bearings and over there. Chain. There we go. We don't want our brake hanging off the hose. Here we can take a closer look at our sprocket. You can see the teeth on the sprocket are literally destroyed. They're all angled to the left. Definitely not meant to be like that. The bearing inside actually seems pretty good. There's no play in it, although I've noticed a bit of play in the axle. That way, but that's only in between the axle and the axle shaft itself. In between there, it's not actually the bearing, so there's not a whole lot I can do about that. There we go. That's one. Once upon a time, this thing was clean. So, I have the bearing out, just banged it out with a socket, cleaned it up, and the bearing is actually in very good condition. There's no play in it, so I'm going to reuse it. I do have a new sprocket carrier bearing, but I'll save that for a time when I do need it. This one is still good to use. Got the wheel cleaned up here. I think I'm gonna paint the wheel black because it just gets so dirty that you don't even see the silver anymore. Gonna replace this O-ring that's on the wheel here. It's a bit tired and could use a new one. Got a new O-ring here. on these chain tensioners, you can see that the thread on the bar is pretty damaged. Got my die here, and we're going to revive these threads. So we're gonna heat these up and then dip them in oil. Heat them up till they're almost glowing a bit, and then dip them in the oil. It'll coat them in a nice black color that also helps them not to rust. You can use the compressor to get the piston out of your caliper. You see it's quite rusty, that needs to be cleaned up. That's why the brakes were sticking a bit. So this is the piston cleaned up. You can see there's quite a lot of pitting on it. It's quite bad. And you shouldn't use this really now. You shouldn't put this back in, but I'm going to have to use it for now. I'm going to order a new piston and seal kit for the rear caliper. And when I get it, I'll take it out again and replace it. I'm going to remove the drive sprocket now. Here's our master link. The way you can tell how bad a chain is how much it slacks on the vertical like that, you know. Pretty bad. There's our sprocket. Our drive sprocket isn't in too bad of a nick. You know, it's okay, but you want to replace your sprockets and chain at the same time because they all kind of wear into each other. So there's a few markings here that you use while you're adjusting the chain. It's also on the other side as well, but I was never able to see them before because the frame was a little bit rusty and the paint and all the grease and everything that was on it. So I'm just going to revive them and make them a little bit more pronounced with a hacksaw here. Yeah, those markings should definitely be a lot easier to see now when it's painted up and everything. So the next thing I'm going to tackle is the swing arm here and parts of the frame and give it a lick of paint. This piece will fall out sometimes when you try to wiggle it on, so I like to put a bit of grease on it just so it sticks to the hub of the wheel a bit more. This is our brake caliper rebuilt. We'll probably have to take this off again to replace that piston, but we'll install it for now. So we have our drive sprocket here. Usually the writing is faced outwards. Yummy. So you want to line up these marks. So that's 1, 2, 3. And same on the other side. You want 1, 2, 3 on the other side as well. You want to keep them exactly parallel. So we're going to go to the third mark. Not too tight, not too loose. There you go.